Out of all 6 Call of Duty Black Ops games, there's one that definitely stands out as the worst. And I must say, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is absolutely the worst Call of Duty Black Ops game. It removed the campaign mode, a staple of the Call of Duty games, especially in the Black Ops series, in favour of a Battle Royale mode called Blackout, which was to cash in on the Battle Royale craze during the late 2010s that came with Fortnite and PUBG. Remind you, this is the only mainline Call of Duty game that didn't feature a campaign mode, and the Battle Royale mode Blackout failed, because this was during when Fortnite was thriving and Fortnite was free compared to a $60 half-baked Battle Royale mode, which they actually cancelled the campaign for this Battle Royale mode, as there is actual dev footage of the cancelled campaign mode for Black Ops 4. At first I just thought Black Ops 3's campaign mode was so bad that they didn't even try and bother with a campaign mode this time. But no, it was removed because they just wanted to cash in, and it also stereotypically had features from older Call of Duties, but were actually worse, or were gone, such as the specialist system being incredibly unbalanced where you could get kills with one hand on the controller and the other somewhere else, compared to Black Ops 3 which you had to use your specialist efficiently to actually get kills. And kill streaks such as the VSAT from other Call of Duty games being gone, and unlockable skins gained through challenges for your character being gone too, which Black Ops 3 actually had, although you could actually customize your character, but it was only through the Battle Pass. Oh yeah, Black Ops 4 was also the first Call of Duty game to introduce a Battle Pass, and also the last Call of Duty game to have supply drops that featured pay-to-win weapons, which were mainly obtained from real life money, and also had a lot of junk such as emotes and other useless trash. One of these overpowered weapons being that one gun where it shot explosive bullets which would one-shot you, and also the last COD to have paid multiplayer DLC, although even though I owned the season pass, I only really remember playing on like 3 of these DLC maps, probably because no one actually bought the DLC. Amidst this, Black Ops 4 did have a very fun multiplayer. It was the first COD game that I reached the max prestige, and I enjoyed the long time to kill, and the gameplay loop actually felt different than other Call of Duty games. Mostly because they removed health regeneration in favour of self-heal, which healing felt a lot quicker in this game, which means resetting fights and a high time to kill. The skating movement was incredibly fun and underrated as not a lot of people talk about it. A lot of gunfights were actually determined on actual skill, and outplays were incredibly fun, and the esports of this game was very entertaining, especially since the specialists were tuned to not be as overpowered for pro play. The maps also focused on gameplay rather than gimmicks. Treyarch did a decent job at maps compared to the toddlers at Infinity Ward, having a field day with a crayon. The guns were pretty balanced and felt extremely good. A lot of weapons stood out with different characteristics, and they even introduced a new feature called operator mods, although some were incredibly stupid and just shouldn't have been in the game, such as the strobe flashlight with that one shotgun. Like that was one of the most irritating things in any video game I stumbled across. Now my biggest problem with this game is that this game has gunplay and movement that was based on skill, but then the specialist system really conflicted with that. There were a lot of specialist characters such as Nomad and Ajax where you could be blind and have Parkinson's and still get kills with their abilities. And also tactical abilities replaced grenades in this game, which the tactical abilities for some of these characters were just ridiculous. That's horse! I don't know who had the idea at Treyarch to make a character that has a flashbang that flashes you 9 times where you can't even aim your gun.
It's so f***ing fun, dude. I can't tell you how amazing it feels to get 9 bang.
And there's also another character that has a drone that tases you. I don't know who came up with these ideas, but I know for sure they must have some type of form of disability. Imagine going on a 29 kill streak about to get a nuclear and this happens. These abilities should assist you in getting kills, not directly getting kills for you. Now with the maps in this game, the free lane maps were incredibly fun, such as Hacienda, but they could get extremely repetitive, especially since a majority of these maps were free lanes. Although there were a lot of maps in the DLC map packs that weren't free lanes, but nobody bought them, which means nobody played them. And they kinda sucked gameplay wise, and they also got lazy and added new maps, but they weren't actually new. They just added a bunch of new weather effects to them, or added a nighttime mode, which sometimes made the maps worse. A lot of these maps were lacking in variety, as there weren't a lot of maps in this game that featured verticality, except for some maps returning from the older COD games, such as Jungle. This game also had some of the best camos in any Call of Duty game, especially the ones that change when you get kills or are on a streak. Some camos will change every 5 kills. Most of these camos were the camos you had to grind for. I generally don't think any other COD games have come close to these camos, even though graphics have evolved since then. This is also the last COD game to feature an emblem editor, which while it is sad it is gone nowadays, it's kinda understandable to why they removed it. Blackout was the stand-in for campaign, and although I think a majority of people actually liked Blackout and think it's underrated, I thought it was okay. But to be completely honest, there wasn't really anything unique to it. The time to kill in this game was already so high, so when you add armor with a bunch of levels and stuff, the game just becomes Halo, or maybe even worse, and the fact specialist items were also pickups was annoying, although having maps from previous Black Ops games as locations was pretty cool. I actually think I enjoyed Warzone more than Blackout, even though I didn't really like Warzone either. And I never thought Black Ops 4 was solely worth buying for Blackout, especially since PUBG and Fortnite, which was free, was so popular at the time, and PUBG was cheaper than Black Ops 4. And Blackout took a big blow when Apex Legends released just a few months after Blackout. Even though I personally don't like Warzone, I just think Warzone was more engaging and it felt like it didn't have as much RNG as Blackout, and Warzone was just more simpler, which means it was much easier to get into. Warzone used a very simple armor system with the armor plates, whereas Blackout used a more similar system to PUBG, and I enjoyed Warzone's armor system a lot more. The healing in Warzone was just way more simpler. Armor was very even in Warzone. Now with zombies, I didn't play as much zombies as I did with Black Ops 3. Black Ops 4 zombies just didn't really interest me at all, as much as zombies intrigued me with Black Ops 3. And although it wasn't bad, it certainly wasn't on the same level as Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 offered way more content with zombies and a lot more quality maps. I just felt like the director for zombies, Jason Blundell, got a bit too carried away after Black Ops 3. I think Black Ops 3 was and is still very worth it just solely on the zombies mode. Black Ops 3 Zombies was that good. And even though I own the DLCs for Black Ops 4 Zombies, I've never played some of those DLC maps. Now one of the biggest discrepancies with Black Ops 4 is that when looking at the Metacritic score for this game, the critics' reviews are double of the user scores. And that's because at the start of BO4's lifecycle, there wasn't going to be any supply drops and weapons can only be obtained through the Battle Pass. But a few months after launch, that changed, when supply drops were added and nearly after every update, a new pay-to-win weapon came. And the only guaranteed way of getting these pay-to-win weapons was with real-life money. Thinking about it now, it was pretty obvious they were going to do this because it's just Activision. Now Black Ops 4 isn't the worst game of all time, or even the worst Call of Duty. In fact, I would play this game over Vanguard any day, but it's definitely the worst Black Ops game, especially when compared to the other 5 Black Ops installments. Although I know some people who view this as their favorite Call of Duty game because of the core gameplay such as the movement and gunplay, it still doesn't ignore the cons that this game had. It's the last Call of Duty game to have supply drops that featured pay-to-win weapons, the only Call of Duty game to not have a campaign, which a half-baked Battle Royale mode took its place. Although it's still better than Modern Warfare 3 2023's campaign, it also debatably had the worst zombies mode out of all Black Ops games. It had a terrible hero shooter specialist system that didn't fit alongside the core gunplay and movement, and its predecessor did that system a lot better. It had extremely greedy monetization, which looking back, it was even worse than the current COD games. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 might remain as the worst Call of Duty Black Ops game.